Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are once again welcome here on the platform for raising awareness. At one of the international news, US President Donald Trump just made a shocking statement against Vladimir Putin, and the very way of speaking gestures that he used. It's both sad and it demonstrates that Donald Trump is tired of all this that Vladimir Putin is doing to do. Donald Trump is tired, which pushes to change direction. He is now obliged and compelled to change direction. He makes this statement while he received Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister British, the very one you know, who is driven by a seriousness, belligerent spirit towards the Russia and a conflicting spirit towards Russia. So, Keir Starmer traveled to see Donald Trump because he too does not understands nothing more in this matter. And he himself had said to Donald Trump, and he and Macron had said to Donald Trump, that Putin will send you to walk around. Putin is someone who is square in his head until he has still achieved the goals he set for himself assigned for military operation special in Ukraine. It will not go to you, listen. He won't budge a single bit, Yota. And since the beginning of the famous negotiations, all the efforts that have been triggered by Donald Trump, there is had no progress. None. So, this visit from Keir Starmer is to discuss military aid to bring to Ukraine. It is necessary to remember already that America has signed a big package of money that must be sent to Ukraine, an amount never spent. This already shows that Donald Trump is tired. But what did he say about Vladimir Putin? And what may be the repercussions as part of this video conference? Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, it is from this news that we are going to talk. But before you continue, accept as usually share the video conferencing to the maximum. Put lots of likes and don't forget, always leave your different opinions in the comments. Let's go then, in the depths. So, what happened? Here is Donald's shocking statement. Trump, the American president, affirmed this. He says, Putin let me dropped. Putin left me fall. He let me down. And that's a statement in appearance personal. It was like it was something of personnel, but which is very heavy meaning. When he says Putin left him fall, it means that everything he has done, Putin abandoned him on his way, the path to peace. So, Trump recognizes that the Kremlin has not moved in the direction hoped for. On the contrary, the Kremlin has moved but in the opposite direction because as soon as Putin finishes talking with Tombe, Putin says nice words to him, kind words, and then afterwards, from if he turns his back, Putin hits him properly. Putin bombs Ukraine 1 is 2, and Putin 2. It's someone who understands nothing. When he decides to do something, he does the thing done. So while he's doing this statement, at the time he receives the British Prime Minister Starmer, the lens, as you can see here, it is to display a united front in Washington, London versus Moscow. This is what this staging means. This means that Donald Trump is tired. He did everything. Putin has it dropped. So now he's looking for another way. Since Putin does not want peace, he will try to support Ukraine. They will to wage war. So what is the real agenda of the Anglo-Saxons? Presence of Keir Starmer with Donald Trump. So behind the diplomatic language, Starmer clarifies it is about strengthening support for Ukraine and increase pressure on Moscow to force a peace agreement. That's their goal, to put the pressure on Moscow. And it's going to be a military pressure, of course, and that may surprise, since in the last few days, we have seen how Ukraine surprised the world. Drones, missiles that come out of nowhere, and leave thousands of kilometers away. All something that was not possible at the beginning of the conflict. And so in other words, not a peace balance, but they don't want a balanced peace, but a dictated peace, a peace snatched by suffocation, military, economic, and political Russia. That's what they want, to stifle Russia on the plan military, on the economic level for that Russia, for Putin to do really, back off. Well, it remains to be seen to what level they will be able to suffocate Russia. Because as they stifle the Russia sticks its nostrils out this way to China, to India, to breathe pure air that he arranges. I want to talk in terms of sanctions. economic. When Russia is economically sanctioned, Russia opens other doors to be able to circumvent Western sanctions. And the West, which is trying to sanction the Russia's trading partners, its even partners stand up against Washington. There you go. So then, the strategic logic in this case, what is it? It's about relaunching the Axis American-British as a bridgehead for the Western camp. Even if it means marginalizing Europe. So this is what is happening past. And finally, what are the diplomatic repercussions and strategic? We are witnessing an intensification of the war by the diplomacy. So the war is materializes intensified by diplomacy since Washington and London are in the process of brandish peace. But in reality, they announce an escalation pressure on Putin, and Putin will not accept. The more Putin has pressure, the more Putin hits. And the more Putin hits, the more the West is angry. The West continues to send weapons to Ukraine, and then some falls back into the same cycle, undefined age. So, the increased support for Kiev, more weapons, more money, more initiatives to isolate Moscow on the international scene. That's what they are announcing indirectly. And for Ukraine, this is a signal. The West is not giving up, but also the West is doing some kind of warning. Here, Kiev remains a simple instrument of proxy war. That's all. It is the others who decide for Kiev. And finally, it's a shock in the global balance, since for Moscow, Moscow is considering his words. For Moscow, his words confirm that the United States does not want peace. But yet, America has made concrete proposals going into the very sense of Russia's advantage. And for Europe, it is a new reminder that strategic decisions are taken in Washington and London, not in Brussels. So, for Russia, the justification to further strengthen its alliance with China, this is a fundamental reason. It will have to strengthen its alliance with China, India, and the global South. So ultimately, and we are far from bringing peace, it is the final result. So ladies and gentlemen, that was it, the headlines. Thank you for the share as much as possible. I'll get back to you just now by the grace of the Almighty with news. So it was the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.